8. Nine.
Holt is from nearby Nottingham, and he's going to be part of our commentary team later on in the event.
$60. 17.
Yeah, I have to say, I really think that now that Michael isn't on the tour, and snooker isn't the be-all and end-all in his life, certainly not from a competing on the Pro Tour aspect, and the stresses and strains that go with that, only being as good as your last match and so on, I think we're going to see a different Michael Holt in the tournaments that we do see him in.
23.
Very classy player. Always has been, ever since we first played each other as junior players way back in the early 90s. Was always one to watch. Captained the England team from a very young age. Very, very well decorated amateur player. Should have achieved more as a professional. But as I say, I think now that pressure of having to perform on the Pro Tour isn't there.
27.
I think when we do get to see him on our screens, we'll see a more light-hearted version, and he might be freer mentally to let more of that potential out.
You're absolutely right saying he should have done more on the circuit. It's difficult to win events, we all know that. I think the salient point with Holt is that he knows he should have done better. I don't think it's a bottle problem with him, although he has lost quite a few narrow matches. I think it's more to do with the fact that if he makes one or two mistakes, regardless of the position of the match, then it really gets under his skin, and he can and has imploded.
Yeah, I think over some years he's been his own worst enemy. You know, as a snooker player, you're only out there on your own. You've got those little voices in your head, and if they're saying negative things to you, you know, it's tough to stay positive. Missed the plant there. He overran his position for the single red under.
One.
A nice pot. Just knocked the red into the left-hand side of the pocket, as we saw there, and that's why the cue ball has hit that red near the black. Black still potable, but this is very thin.
Now that caught an awful lot, even though he's still on the black in a fashion.
Now what he is, though, he's a great potter, isn't he? We've seen that black there. That was a very thin
60.
cutback running into reds. Very risky shot to play. Played it as if it was over the pocket.
17.
And that's kind of been his hallmark through his breakthrough season last year, winning the UK Champs and winning the German Masters. Didn't do a great deal apart from that, has to be said. It wasn't as if he had a really consistent season. But when he did play well, he seemed to take the trophy home, and of course that's all
22.
that matters. So, shown us what he's capable of when he gets going.
23.
There are certain words we use in snooker commentary all the time: pressure, confidence, consistency. And I think every player who's ever lived to a certain degree is inconsistent. That's just human nature. But when it comes to inconsistency,
28.
for me, Zhao Xintong is near the top of the list. That's because
29.
his best is brilliant, but sometimes he can have a really off day.
Yeah, and I think you set your stall out as a player as to what type of player you want to be. Do you want to be a consistent player who always
36.
wins their first, second, third round matches, but perhaps doesn't win very often?
37.
Or do you want to play to your strengths, which obviously with Xintong is his potting and break building, attacking play, and understand that you might lose more than a few other players because of your style, play more of a risky style. But when it's good, you'll take the trophy home. And that's a decision that everyone on tour has to make, really.
44.
Unintentionally covering the black spot with the cue ball. Not an issue though.
45.
A little bit more generous. That changes the strategy of the game a little bit. Shots, balls you would put on cushions to make it difficult
60.
for your opponents suddenly don't become that hard. So changes the strategy of the game a touch. Sure.
One.
26 points the difference. Blue for 31. Will need the red near the brown. Play the stun shot between pink and black and cue ball back up and down. He's playing the yellow though, on and off the side cushion.
For the first few shots of this frame, both safety-wise and positionally, he looked all at sea. Now, though, the frame should be under lock and key.
Eight. 10. 13.
He really did not look sharp early on, and now he's looking like $1 million.
17.